Charles Leclerc is on a mission to win it all. That much is obvious in recent times, given how vocal the Monegasque driver has been in regards to the issues keeping him from achieving glory. He has spoken out against his car, his team, and now his fans. Plus, Carlos Sainz chooses who he wants to replace Leclerc. All of this in today's video, so keep watching. Charles Leclerc isn't really bothered by the expectations of his impatient Ferrari fans. The Scuderia is accustomed to achieving victories and championships, but so far in 2023 they've only secured 2 F1 podium finishes in 10 races, both of which were thanks to Leclerc's impressive performance. Although his recent racing results have been disheartening, Leclerc's determination remains unwavering, as he is highly motivated to overcome this challenging phase and contribute to Ferrari's resurgence to the pinnacle of the sport. His fans, who he called impatient in a recent interview, are waiting in anticipation for his magic to start working. Leclerc told The Guardian, "I am the first one who wants to be in a title fight, but it's not frustrating, it motivates me a lot. I don't feel the outside pressure, but I am putting myself under a lot of pressure in order to succeed. The responsibility of bringing Ferrari back to the top. The passion people have for the team is like nobody else. This comes with the good side, that there is so much enthusiasm, but it comes with things more difficult to manage, that because of this passion, people are quite impatient. Who should the fans point fingers at for their beloved team's struggles? Well, if you asked Charles Leclerc, he would tell you that it's the higher-ups. He has attributed his on-track difficulties to the Ferrari management, pointing fingers at the team bosses. Team boss Frédéric Vasseur recently expressed significant concerns, highlighting that Leclerc had surpassed the acceptable limits and committed errors while driving. However, Leclerc has come to his own defense, attributing his actions to Ferrari's subpar car. The Monegasque driver explained that due to the lack of performance from the car, he was compelled to push himself harder to compensate. In a veiled manner, Leclerc indirectly criticised the Scuderia mechanics for their role in the situation. He said, "My mentality has always been to push at the maximum and not leave anything on the table. When you have a trickier car to drive, as is the case for the first part of this season, mistakes happen. I know this. Whenever there is something missing, I am trying to find something that is not there. I will always try to push the limit." Ferrari is currently experiencing a challenging season, which is quite a contrast to their competitive performance last year when they were in a fierce battle with Max Verstappen for the championship. The Italian team has dropped from being the runners-up to becoming the 4th fastest team on the grid, with both Mercedes and Aston Martin displaying superior speed. The British Grand Prix turned out to be a forgettable weekend for the prancing horse, as both Leclerc and Carlos Sainz saw their positions slip during Sunday's race. Despite starting in the top 5, they both fell down the order and finished in 9th and 10th place respectively, earning only 3 points for the team. To make matters worse, they were even overtaken by Williams' Alex Albon, who executed an impressive move on Sainz in the final laps. Bernie Collins, the former Aston Martin strategist and current Sky Sports F1 host, went as far as describing the team's performance as borderline unacceptable. Vasseur hasn't held back on expressing his criticism of Leclerc this season, highlighting his shortcomings. A notable incident occurred at the Miami Grand Prix, when Leclerc pushed himself too far during the final part of qualifying, resulting in a crash and an early exit from the session. While speaking to Corriere della Sera, he said, "Charles, on the other hand, is capable of doing magic in qualifying, of going further. But he sometimes goes beyond the limit, always seeking the maximum, even when the car cannot give it. He always wants to win, so he can make mistakes like at the beginning of the season. We talked about it together." Unfortunately for the impatient fans, problems with management isn't the only issue plaguing the team. According to a Formula One pundit, there seems to be a developing dent in the relationship between Ferrari teammates Charles Leclerc and Carlos Sainz. Sainz joined Ferrari in 2001, replacing Sebastian Vettel after leaving McLaren. To everyone's surprise, Sainz outscored Leclerc in his first year at Ferrari, but Leclerc evened the score in the 2022 season. This dynamic has raised eyebrows among many observers. Although Leclerc and Sainz generally appear to have a good rapport, there have been indications of potential tension, particularly when it comes to team orders. An example of this was seen in Austria, when Sainz was instructed not to overtake his teammate despite having a faster pace. Frustrated by the situation, Sainz took matters into his own hands and made a move to overtake Leclerc during the qualifying session at Silverstone. These instances suggest that the relationship between the two drivers may not always be seamless when it comes to team dynamics. Leclerc's response to the situation led him to have discussions with the higher-ups at Ferrari. F1 pundit Harry Benjamin has interpreted these actions as potential indications of a frosty relationship between Leclerc and Sainz. During his time on the BBC's Checkered Flag podcast, he said, "I think there's a bit of a frosty relationship developing between Leclerc and Sainz. We've heard Sainz multiple times on the radio this year, wanting to be let past Leclerc because he's the faster driver, he's better. The strategy is not playing out, and Sainz has a habit of overruling his team when it comes to strategy. Leclerc, not so much, but I think both are now developing a bit of maybe a slight distrust towards the Ferrari strategy team because they can't get it right, and they have done, but they more often than not get it wrong. During Silverstone, Sainz was having the back and forth at one point. They weren't really sure what their strategy was, and then he dropped like a stone, really, in the last 10 laps. He lost about 3 or 4 spots and then ended up fighting with Leclerc, and there were only 3 points that they picked up at the end. The team's hesitation in implementing a strategy had a detrimental effect on Sainz, resulting in him losing positions to Sergio Perez and Alex Albon in just a few corners. This incident was strongly criticised by Ralf Schumacher, who labelled it as embarrassing. Meanwhile, Ferrari had a disappointing race weekend following their podium finish in Austria. Sam Bird, a Jaguar driver, expressed his dissatisfaction, stating that being the 5th best team in a weekend was simply not up to par for the prestigious Scuderia. Technically, they were the 5th best team this weekend, which isn't good enough for the Scuderia. They started the year as the 2nd best team. Here they were the 5th best team, and that's not quite good enough from the team from Maranello. Charles Leclerc is being attacked on all fronts, and if his needs keep on being shunned to the side, it's certainly in the realm of possibility to see him jump ship. When that happens, Carlos Sainz knows exactly who he wants as his first mate. When choosing between the sport's 2 heavy hitters, Carlos Sainz has recently disclosed his preference to be teammates with Lewis Hamilton rather than Max Verstappen. Sainz found himself alongside the reigning world champion when he entered Formula One with Toro Rosso. There, he witnessed Max Verstappen swiftly being promoted to Red Bull, while Sainz himself departed from the same team shortly afterward. And when posed with the question of whether he would choose to have the 7-time world champion or the current points leader as his teammate, Sainz wasn't afraid to step on any toes in his response. He told The Express, "I've already been Max's teammate, so I know I would get on well with him and we would have a good relationship. I've never been teammates with Lewis, but I guess being a teammate of a 7-time world champion has to be good for your career, and you're probably going to learn. So maybe, just to try something different, I would like Lewis. But honestly, I don't care. Whoever I have as a teammate, I'll embrace it." Given the current state of Ferrari, Fred Vasseur might find himself compelled to extend Leclerc's contract sooner than anticipated, as there are indications of interest from 2 prominent teams. Red Bull has reportedly approached Leclerc regarding a potential move. Earlier in the season, Leclerc was also rumoured to be a candidate for a move to Mercedes, although he denied having any discussions with Toto Wolff. If the decision were up to you, would you let Charles Leclerc re-sign with Ferrari, or do you think it would be better for his career to race for somebody else? Tell us what move you would recommend to the Monegasque driver and why in the comment section down below. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Thanks for watching.